Hello friends and welcome to Tennessee. I'm MD Creekmore, and today I'm going to be showing you how to build a cheap and easy raised bed garden for your backyard homestead coming right up. But before we get started, please take 1 second to click that subscribe button and bell notification icon so you'll be notified each time that I upload a new video. Also, check in the description box below for a link where you can download my free homesteading ebook. Well folks, here's the completed raised bed. This one is 8 foot long by 4 foot wide. You can make these things as long as you need them to be, but they should not be over 4 feet wide because you want to be able to reach in from both sides to get to the plants and pull weeds if needed. As you can see, when I put these, this is made out of 2x10 lumber. And you can see I've used 4-inch bolts to connect the pieces together, and I used 2x4 in each corner for more stability to hold it together with long screws. And I also used a centerpiece at 4 foot to make sure that the center doesn't expand from the pressure of the soil on the inside. I also used framing brackets on each side with screws. I also used bolts that are 4 foot long, 4 inches long, 4 foot long. That'd be some long bolts. It wouldn't go anywhere though. But anyway, these are 4 inches long, screwed into each side of the lumber, each end, to hold this together. Same on this side with the 4-inch bolts and corner pieces, 2x4, all screwed together to hold this thing together, keep it from coming apart. I've built these things before and never had any issue with them spreading apart or coming apart at any time. Just build it right the first time and you won't have any issues out of it. You can see I used landscaping cloth on the inside of mine. This has small holes. I don't know if you can see that through this camera or not. This has small holes to let water drainage, and this will reduce your weeds inside your garden. There's pros and cons to using this, but I prefer to use it. When you can do your own research and stuff, you can also lay down like a layer of old newspapers, cardboard that'll rot away, but it'll keep the weeds out for the first couple of years. And you'll still get weeds in your garden eventually from, say, birds carrying those in, wind blowing those in. But this will really help for the first few years to keep out weeds. And I really hate weeds in a raised bed because it can be a real pain in the butt. I had some raised beds before that got some vines. I don't know how they got in there, but the vines came in and just took the beds over. The more I would pull those vines out, the more they'd grow. I finally had to take the raised beds up and redo them. Now, I know the next thing you're going to be asking, is this treated lumber? Yes, this is treated lumber. I've used treated lumber before without any issues. I really don't think it's an issue that anyone should be worried about, but if you're still worried about it, you can always line these with plastic, or you can use plain lumber and coat that with linseed oil, and that should last between 5 and 10 years before having to be replaced if it's just regular pine. And you can get different. If you use cedar, cedar is the best thing to use, but it's expensive and hard to find in this area. So I just used the cheaper 2x10 treated lumber. The newer treated lumber is ACQ copper infused. The arsenic infused treated lumber hasn't been readily available for commercial use since 2003. So you're not going to find the arsenic infused lumber, or most likely you're not going to find it at your local hardware store or lumber yard. They phased that out, like I said, in 2003, and that was the main issue, was the arsenic infused lumber that would cause any health issues. But like I said, they've not used arsenic infused process since 2003. So it's really not an issue, but like I said, if you're still worried about that, you can line these with, if you want to use treated lumber, you can line this with plastic, or if you want to use this like plain pine boards that's untreated, you can coat those with linseed oil, and they'll last 5 or 10 years before having to be replaced. But I really don't, personally, I don't see any issue, any health issues or anything, or have any concerns with using pressure treated lumber, the newer pressure treated lumber, the ACQ copper infused pressure treated lumber. I plan on putting 6 of these beds in up here. But my main garden area is down here, actually. We'll go in here and take a look. My main garden area is right through here. It's approximately about 50 foot by 15 foot wide. It's been my main garden area for the last couple of years here. I don't have it tilled up yet. That's one of my next projects, getting it tilled up. I'm gonna get this tilled up. I'm gonna put the other raised beds in up there. But I'm gonna use this area right here to plant corn, beans, and squash. It's going to be sort of a three sisters method, the corn, beans, and squash, where you plant the corn first and let it get like 6 inches tall, and then you plant the beans, and as the corn grows, the beans will grow, and the pole beans will wrap around the corn for support, and so you have the corn supporting the beans, and the beans will support the corn from blowing over in the wind and things, because it will offer more stability, because you have the corn and beans both growing together as one unit. And then you want to plant the squash around the outside perimeter of the corn and beans. So you'll have the corn, then you'll have the beans growing up inside the corn, or not inside the corn, but around the corn. And then you'll have the squash growing on the outside. That's what I'm going to use this area here for, is corn, beans, and squash, in a sort of a three sisters method. But instead of having the round 6 foot round mounds that are traditionally used in the three sisters growing method, I'm going to use this row method. So I'll have 4 rows of corn with pole beans planted around each stalk of corn, with a squash on the outside of that. Well guys, that pretty much covers it for this episode. Like I said, I'm going to plant corn, beans, and squash down there in a sort of a three sisters growing method. Then up here, I'm going to expand this out to 6 to 8 more beds, and I'll plant tomatoes and cucumbers and peppers and carrots and things like that up here. Oh yeah, and don't forget, check the description box below where you can find a link to my CD. There's thousands and thousands of pages of information on this CD, and it's priced at $29.99. Please take a few minutes to go check that out. Consider purchasing, because the purchases will help me keep these videos going and free for everyone to watch. Thanks.